Good afternoon, everyone. I am Adina, and welcome to Beyond the Veil. I am grateful to have you guys, all 216 or 217 of you. I am grateful for you being here. Today, I am going to do a true crime reading. I haven't done one of these in a very long time. One of my subscribers asked when I was going to return to doing these. This is what I started my page to do, lending a voice to the spirits who were not able to speak up for themselves, especially when it came to injustices surrounding their passing or circumstances surrounding their disappearances. And today I am going to be reading the energy and the spirit of Celina Mays. Now, I don't know if you guys are familiar with her case, but she was 12 years old when she went missing in December of 1996, I believe, from New Jersey. She was 12 years old and pregnant. 12 years old and pregnant. She lived in a home full of adults. There was her father, who had just gotten custody of her after her mother passed away. And they were living with his sister, who was the pastor of the church that the family attended. And the sister's husband lived there, and the sister's son, her adult son, I believe was 21 at the time that Celina went missing. He lived there, as well as Celina's father's wife, and maybe one or two other people. So there were obviously a lot of adults in the house for a 12-year-old child to come up pregnant. And she was 9 months pregnant at the time of her disappearance. Story has it that she lived a very, very, very sheltered life once she got into the custody of her father. Some people have described the church that they attended as cult-like, where there were various reports of different sexual issues concerning the pastor's son, which was Celina's cousin. I believe that quite a few of the women of the congregation ended up pregnant by this young man. He also eventually got charged with either one or a few sexual assault charges. So I am going to read her because she shows up on my YouTube algorithm quite often, but I just bypass it. Simply because I've been trying to create content that my subscribers would enjoy, and I notice how much people flock to the celebrity readings. I don't care to do them, but it's what gets people subscribing to my channel, and I do want subscribers because at the end of the day, I don't just do celebrity readings. What I do for people in my personal life, my personal clients, with the personal services I provide are important to me. It is God's work. And doing celebrity readings is just like marketing to me. However, I will, and it's Scorpio season, so it's time to integrate the dead back into my readings, and I will do so with Celina Powell. Now, she has not been recovered, so we cannot say that she's dead, but she has been missing for 20-something years, and no one has seen or heard from her, to my knowledge, or her child that she was 9 months pregnant with at the time of her disappearance. So I have my theories everybody that is familiar with this case has their theories, and at this point, we're just going to see what the spirits have to say. So without further ado, I was going to ring Celina up, but I'm going to do this without ringing her up. Because I am at the office and I'm not the only one here. The receptionist is here and she's right on the other side of this wall, and I don't want to interrupt her with ringing my bell. So I am not going to ring. I'm just going to summon Celina. Because this reading has been in my spirit, I believe that is Celina's way of asking me or inviting me to read for her, so I don't feel like I need the bell. Celina Powell. Whether you are in the land of the living or in the realm of the dead, where the sun sets in the west, come to me. You and the soul of your unborn or born child, come to me and tell me your story. The energy that I feel is very somber, very strict. I get the impression that this is allegedly the aunt's energy that I'm picking up on, and not saying that she is here, but it's almost like she was very overbearing to Celina, because when I call for Celina's energy, I feel the energy of someone who was very overbearing and smothering and wouldn't allow her any freedom to speak. However, I call forth the spirit of Celina Powell, and I empower you wherever you are in the state that you're in currently. I empower you to be strong, to be loud, and to speak your truth. No matter what limitations or constraints you faced in this life, you do not face them here. You are free here to speak, and to speak freely, and no one here will harm you in my presence. I need to get my Florida water. All right, guys. I had to get my Florida water, and I am going to ring my bell because there is an energy that Celina is. I don't know if it's fear. I don't know if she feels afraid, but like I mentioned, when I called Celina, she wasn't the first one to speak up for herself. It is the overbearing feminine energy that is very present, very dominant, almost like standing over her while she wants to speak to me since I called her. But there's this energy in front of her, surrounding her, kind of veering at her to make sure she doesn't say anything out of line or anything at all. Allegedly, methinks this is her aunt. Allegedly, methinks that her aunt is the reason why to this day Celina Powell's truth has not been expressed. I don't know if the aunt is still alive, but First, I'm going to Florida water, then I'm going to ring. Because I want to ring the aunt's energy away. Because you don't run team here. You don't run team here. All the spirits that I read, whether they come willingly or they come unwillingly, they all learn the same thing. Your power doesn't work for you here. All right. I just want to cover Celina in this warm energy coming from my hands to let her know that she's safe and that she's protected and that I am sitting in the seat of power today, Celina. The God that loves you has empowered me to be able to protect you here, my love. There is absolutely no reason to be afraid. I promise you. I promise you. What a scared little girl. All right. I'm going to ring this to chase away the energy of the aunt. Not too much because all right, Celina, are you able to speak now? Let's see. Celina Powell, I and others would like to know what happened to you. You disappeared in December, on December 16th, I believe, 1996. It is almost December again. And we would like to know what happened to you, Celina. What happened to you? What happened to your baby? You may speak freely here. Let's see what Celina has to say, guys. Temperance. Methinks that we would find Celina buried somewhere near water, allegedly. Near a lake, near a river, near a stream, a park, a wooded area where there is a lake, a river, or a stream. I see one moment. I see a person of the cloth. Now, I'm not sure if Celina's baby was birthed. There's a chance that the child was birthed. But I'm not sure though. I don't think so though. I don't think so though. This feels like before the child could be birthed, something had to be done to her. Allegedly, there was a woman of the cloth who used words and speeches that move people in order to dilute truths, like a pastor. The problem was that Celina was getting ready to go into labor, and everyone knew that the baby was coming soon. She had been having discomforts and pains, Braxton Hicks contractions, I believe. And she suffered through this alone a lot because even though she was pregnant and even though her family knew she was pregnant, they lived as if she wasn't. In that household, they lived as if she wasn't. So there was really no help for her when she was going through labor pains. There was more fear of her than concern for her. This is my religion card. In the past, it's turned reverse. Methinks that Celina had begun to rebel a little bit, not want to follow the rules of the family, the religious rules of the family, because that wasn't her lifestyle prior to her father getting custody of her. She was being raised by her mother and her maternal family. And when her mother passed away, her father fought for full custody and got it. So now she is living with her paternal family, and he's living with his pastor's sister, who I heard is very cult-like, with all these adults, family adults, and some church adults that have been staying with them back and forth. And Celina, they say that her life consists of church and family. They pulled her out of public schools and began homeschooling her. Her life became that house, that family, and that church. And for a child who was raised with a different lifestyle, and to wait until they are at puberty age to start trying to be instill a cult-like environment on them would probably cause them to rebel, and she did. And this made her an issue. Not only did that make her an issue, methinks that the fact that she was mixed, light-skinned, and what I think her aunt might have considered to be fast. I have a friend who was adopted. My friend is about 43 now. She's mixed. She never knew either of her parents. Her mother passed away. Her mother gave her up. Her mother was a prostitute and found out that she was sick or got pregnant by a black man, someone she barely knew, and found out that she had some kind of life-threatening disease or something. So she ended up giving the baby away to one of her prostitute friends' mothers or aunts because she couldn't take a half-black baby back to her parents. And this was a very old school woman that raised my friend. And she used to beat the hell out of my friend for any reason. And she would always remind her that she was light-skinned and fast and grown when my friend wasn't. She was actually being molested. And the lady knew, but she was calling her fast, light-skinned, heifer, grown, all of that. It's like there's this mentality in some places in the South with certain older generations, the envy of white skin. They see trouble and promiscuity with light skin. And it's an internalized envy. So it's like their opportunity to take out their frustration and jealousy about how whites and lighter skinned people got preferential treatment out on a whiter or lighter skinned person. That's the energy that I get from this in the past position. I think that that Celina was treated very unfairly in that house just because she was light-skinned. This is her father. And he is in the future position, near future position. I'll come back to that. As above, Ten of Swords in reverse. This is nobody ever being able to find her body or bring closure to that case. So below, again, still no closure. The Fool in reverse. Well, the girl did not run away. She never got the opportunity. Page of Cups in reverse. Her child, her daughter, because I believe it was a little girl. And I'm only saying that because this Page of Cups is here, and that's usually my little girl card. If it's in reverse, she's also allegedly no longer amongst the land of the living. Hopes and fears is that she's found. Celina wants to be found, and she wants the two people responsible for her held accountable. Four of Cups, though. The authorities know who do it. The authorities know pretty much what happened and what three people they should be looking for. But for some reason, they can't do anything about it unless some information just falls from the sky and is handed to them. All right. Nobody's willing to talk to the police about the investigation but people know who did it. They know that allegedly her aunt's son did it because he went to jail for something similar, but nobody's willing to communicate with the authorities and the investigators. All right, let's see. The Temperance card. Four of Wands in reverse. The Strength. This almost looks like the same character on the Temperance card. Wheel of Fortune. Methinks she was taken from the house before she could give birth. Methinks that when they took her to the doctors, they knew then that the son was responsible. They knew because they knew this boy. They knew this man. They knew his behavior. They knew what he liked to do. They knew that he would come into her room secretly and do things. They knew. This was an open secret in the house. But somebody didn't want this baby to come out and be found out whose child, who fathered it. Methinks that the aunt, allegedly again, was the one who controlled everything and everyone in the house, in the family, in the community that gave them the power to do so. And it was her who would watch Celina the whole entire time that she was there. She had her eyes on her little light-skinned, fast self. And this is not saying that Celina was fast, but this was the aunt's mentality. As soon as Celina came in the house, she was watching her closely throughout the pregnant for the moment when she knew that the baby would come. And when she noticed Celina having pain, she knew that it was the right time. We cannot let this baby be born. Because they would find out whose baby it was. And think about what people would say. How many people would leave the church if they knew? Methinks allegedly, because as she's watching everything, nothing goes unnoticed. This is her son. This is him in reverse, getting this young tenderoni pregnant. Here she is just minding her business, looking this way. And he's looking at her in reverse. He wanted some of that. Then she got pregnant. His mother knew that this was rape, that he was messing with his little cousin. All right, that's nasty. I see her being carried out of the house by two people in, I don't know if this is in the wee hours of the night. I see her possibly being given something to drink. All right. Nine of Swords, challenging position. This young lady was getting ready to have her baby. It was coming. I see that the authorities know. So the aunt, I see you having to bail your son out of jail numerous times for the exact same thing, according to the authorities, that makes sense in Celina's case, which is why they know that the son and the mother had something to do with this. because they watch him be arrested for similar things. They watch the mother. It's something about taking tithes, taking money from the church. I don't know, to help bail her. I don't know. Everything changed because Celina started to go into labor pains. They knew the baby was coming. They couldn't allow it to be born. Because it would ruin her son. Why do I get the impression that the mom was raising funds from churchgoers or something like that in order see, she didn't want people talking about her son and the things that he did. It's like she would dog out Celina to the congregation and call her fast and say something like, we tried to stop her from being so fast and getting pregnant, but like, I don't know if they were asking for donations to help the family find Celina or something like that, but it drew suspicions from authorities. I see that the father came up first as a person of interest, and he cooperated so that he could show that he had nothing to do with it. I believe that he had a vasectomy, and he got confirmation from his doctor that he couldn't have been the one to get her pregnant, so it wasn't him. But he did withhold certain information from the authorities. I see that he did not tell them that she was pregnant when she went missing, which could have helped them. Now, why? This is a man who had gotten off the drugs. I know it said that he had gotten clean, but something about see, even the father knew whose baby it was. He knew that it was one of the people in the house. But he feared, like he feared not having anywhere else to go. I keep seeing drugs and stuff. I see that he helped them cover it up. It's almost like the father is the perfect archetype for a cult leader. Somebody who has a poorly aspected Neptune. Drugs and religion, that is Neptune. And a good balance is being in the middle of those. The Father gives me perfect mark for a cult leader, somebody who used to have an addiction to drugs but now has an addiction to religion, because they're both Neptunian, so they both give off some of the same high energy. Spirituality is just a natural form, a natural euphoria that you feel from the chemical euphoria of being high. I get the impression that he cared more about being on the outside of something. Methinks that it was easier for him to believe that she had run away, because that's what she was told. But I see two people carrying her out of the house at night, because she was approaching the time for her to deliver her baby. And I think that the aunt had been watching closely for that moment. I see that he thought his sister's story was suspicious, but he continued to carry on as if nothing ever happened. It's like he was afraid to be kicked out of the club. All right, the Hierophant in reverse. I see that some people came forward, like some people had probably already come forward about the son. I don't know if he had a charge prior to Celina moving there, or already had some accusations prior to her moving there. The word abortion is in my mind. I don't know if Celina considered getting an abortion, or if that was one of the stories that was told, that she ran off, had an abortion. Maybe some of the other people who had come out had gotten abortions already by him, since this was in the past, before Celina's situation. I think that there had already been some issues at the church from some people coming out saying that he had gotten them pregnant, but paid for abortions. More than one person. And this feels forceful. This doesn't feel like my daughter and the pastor's son was having an affair. This feels like him watching young girls and taking from them. Methinks that the church was already losing members. Some people had left the church already. I kept hearing it being described as cult-like. As above with the Ten of Swords in reversed. What I see is that the only reason this is in reverse is because she still hasn't been found. But allegedly, according to my spiritual and metaphysical opinion, Celina Powell is no longer. Again, only because she was getting ready to deliver a baby. Now, why do I wonder if the baby was delivered? Me thinks that, and I'm just throwing this out there because it's sitting on my chest, but me thinks that they attempted to deliver the baby, but it wasn't able to survive outside of Celina. He thinks that once they got it out, it couldn't survive outside of its mother. Something that the mother did not do, the aunt. Now, I don't know if it's cooperate with authorities, but there was something which makes her the Empress in reverse. As below. Again, methinks that Celina Powell's demise took place or her remains are near a body of water. There are trees there. There is water there. This isn't a beach. This is somewhere with lots of trees. Ironically, though, this isn't a place where it would be too difficult to find her. She's still there. She's still right where what was done to her at, right where it was done. This, to me, feels like strangulation with all of this strength card. It's almost as if somebody knew when they took her from the house. So I'm sorry, guys. I think that everybody in that house Everybody that was present in that house, every adult in that house knows. Whether they took those secrets to the grave or not, every adult in that house knows. Just because based on what I saw, Celina left with some people from that house and was expected to return as well. It's almost like two people said, we're going to take her to the hospital. And those remaining at the house expected her to come back, and she did not. I'm going to stick by that part. The Fool in reverse. Four of Wands in reverse again. Death in reverse again. Queen of Pentacles. Celina, my dear, was planning to run away, but she never got the opportunity to. But me thinks that Celina wanted to run away when she found out she was pregnant, or at some point as the pregnancy progressed. I think Celina wanted to run away, but never got the opportunity to. It's like she didn't want to give birth or raise her baby in that house. She wasn't sure where she was going to go, but she wanted to leave. She knew that much. This is why it was easy for them to, because she knew that the nephew was going to, her cousin was going to continue raping her, allegedly. He was going to continue doing it, and people knew. People knew, but were turning their back, especially his mom. And nobody was helping her. Nobody would help her. Poor thing. Page of Cups, reverse, external environment. Again, these cards, what I noticed about these cards, notice the similarities in the trees and the water. Even her So Below card, water and trees. Somebody said they were taking Celina to a hospital or doctor, but they took Celina to the riverside, to the water side, where methinks Celina gave birth. Methinks that the aunt was there to cut the baby out, allegedly. That doesn't give me vaginal birth because of this sword. Methinks that they could have possibly been thinking about keeping the baby. But I do not believe it survived. Again, I was about to look into the Queen of Swords and the sword. This is what happened to Celina, allegedly. That baby was cut out of her, allegedly. The son was there. He had to hold Celina down and things like that. Help was needed. More swords. He didn't want to look. He didn't want to look while the mother was doing the heavy lifting. And after the baby was out and they realized that it didn't go the way they expected because it couldn't survive outside of her, they left her there. They just left her. I see that the mother and the son said that they were going to take her to the doctor. But they didn't go there. They killed her instead. I see that there was an argument about what they were going to tell the family, everybody at the house. Or what they were going to tell the community when they came back with the baby about who the parents were. They were going to say that the parents gave up the child because they didn't want to keep it. They had planned that, I think that they had planned this though. The plan was to always, for her, to disappear and say that she left the baby with them and ran off with whomever she got pregnant by. That was the plan. The aunt didn't want the baby to die because that was an extension of her child. Methinks that they intended, though, to take the baby and get rid of Celina and say that Celina ran off and left them with the baby, but it didn't go according to plan because the baby did not survive. Celina's hopes and fears is that we find out what happened and where she was left. Where to find her remains. Methinks that it would cost money to reopen the case or do another search, but if they did, I think that they would find her this time. It requires manpower and efforts that I believe they don't have the funds for. But methinks that if they went looking, they would be successful in finding where her remains are being held. Final outcome is that this young man, her cousin, will get away with injustice because it looks as though everybody who could give valuable information for some reason isn't talking. Like, I know her father has passed away. He took those secrets to the grave. And just by this card alone, it just tells me that the other people that are involved won't. The only way that it can be solved is if a gift from heaven is given. And guys, I hope that the New Jersey police are watching this because this is your gift. You will find Celina somewhere in Jersey where there is water. Now, I know that that can be any place in Jersey. There's trees, there are parks, there are lakes. But I guarantee you, at one of them, you will find Celina and maybe the remains of her daughter. I'm not sure because the child was taken out of the mother. So that is Celina Powell's story as I can glean from it. And you guys enjoy. Prayers for Celina and those who loved her. Ashe and amen.